Hey Roadies, this is Adriana from Roadie Free Radio. In this episode, Larry speaks to Director of Technical Operations at IMS Technology Services, Chris Leonard. In this short clip, Chris reflects on his time touring in his early 20s. Being young and all, he often was met with the challenge of other roadies seeing him as a kid. However, Chris fought to dispel that myth, as he kept the drive to learn every day on the job and to do the work. Want to know more about Chris? Make sure to check out the full episode, number 177, from April 11th, 2022. Thank you for listening, and thank you for subbing. Enjoy the show.
It's not lost on me that I was basically like born the year that like their first album came out, right? So, so it was definitely intimidating to be out there. And like, I'll be quite frank, I barely had listened to Tears for Fears before touring with them. You know what I mean? Like, I maybe knew a hit or two. Right. And then so I started doing my homework and listening, and obviously have since. It's phenomenal, and I love their music. You know, and working for them was amazing. Their level of musicianship and writing is through the roof. Yeah. You know, and so and they're all in ears, no wedges, and they're very specific on what they want in terms of panning and EQ. And it's great because if you can tell me exactly what you want, I can give it to you. Right. You know, it's when someone can't tell you what they don't want, and then you're trying to guess. So, that level of musicianship and artistry to be around was just phenomenal.
I think, though, again, you know, we go back to empathy, we go back to listening. For the younger demographic of my show listening right now, let's just talk a little bit about, right, you were young doing that's a high-level band. Yes, you knew somebody who knew your work, but you talked a little bit about how you carry yourself and whatnot, right? I mean, yes, you had the skill, but there's something else in there that you got to have at a young age.
Yeah, I don't know. At the time, it was more of just, for me, like, I don't know if it was a self-confidence. I don't know. I had a drive to do it, right? And I never, I don't know. I fought to dispel the kid myth. And like we're just humans here doing a thing that we love. You know, I won't name the city, but like I was on tour and as a young, you know, yes, I get it. I was young, you know, 19, 20, 21, whatever, you know, in my first couple of tours, and like the stagehand of this prominent city kept like, you know, kid, and tried to spell like, look, my name's Chris. Hi, my name's Chris. You know, and if you call me kid one more time, we're gonna have issues.
I'm gonna call Don Henley. Don Henley's gonna come kick your ass.
Like it's, you know, so I don't know. It's hard to teach someone what that is and how to be. I could just, but I think being yourself is more than anything. I mean, it's not trying to be fake, not trying to be someone you're not. People will see through any of that bullshit, right? So I mean, as long as you are just a normal human being, normal, like just you know what you know, you don't know what you don't know, and as long as you're every day perfecting your work that you're doing and trying to make yourself better, don't be afraid to be wrong or be told you're wrong, and to check yourself. I definitely had a moment or a tour where I regretted how I held myself and how I treated someone else. I was a crew chief on the tour, and you know, at a much younger age than I probably should be. And yeah, you know, looking back now, I had a person fired off the tour, and I probably shouldn't have. And part of it was an ego, for sure. But you learn sometimes through doing things like that, and you progress, and you try to help others not do the same thing.
You mentioned the you know what you know, you don't know what you don't know sort of thing. How do you feel about the fake it till you make it mentality?
Yeah, I really wrestle with that because I tell. Specifically now that I've been hiring people for years at IMS, and I tell people, like, I don't really like the fake it till you make it mentality in some aspect. In other words, I'd rather you tell me what you don't know and let me work with you to doing it. Obviously, at some point, almost all of us had to do something we weren't comfortable with or didn't know fully and make it happen. But don't sell me a false bill of goods is what I don't like about fake it till you make it. Like, I'd rather you be honest with me on where you are and where you're trying to go, where I need you to go, and we just work through that, and I know that, than to you, oh yeah, I can do this, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna end up in an utter flop, right? So for me as a full-time hiring person, I care more about hiring a person for who they are from a personality and headspace, not so much the technical side, because I can train the technical side. So that's why I don't like the fake it till you make it. Is like, hey, as long as I've hired you for a reason, right? I'm okay with what you don't know as long as I know it, because I can bring you along,
Right.
But on the same token, I have to talk out of both sides of my mouth, because when I got my first monitor gig on tour, I had done some monitors, but not a ton, and the guy comes up to me, or I was helping load in at rehearsals, and the monitor engineer was going to be there the next day. And when I showed up, the guy was like, "Oh, are you a monitor engineer?" I was like, "Yes." Like, it was like, I said yes. And I helped him dial things in. He's like, "Oh, this is pretty good. Do you just want to do the tour?" Again, this is another situation where, like, they were just getting a house engineer from MSI. It didn't matter too much who the person was. I was like, well, let me check with owner of Maryland Sound. He's like, yeah, don't screw it up. And sure, that was a time where, like, I was definitely putting myself in situations I hadn't really been in for, but I was able to prove myself. I knew enough about it, and I was able to move forward. So I think there's a healthy balance of how you approach fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I would agree. Hey, what's happening, roadies? It's Larry here. Just wanted to thank you so much for listening to this short clip. I really hope you got something out of it. If you can take 2 seconds to head over to iTunes and drop us a review or a comment, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep listening, keep coming back, stay healthy out there, and remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.